Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability, SVTAGS. Today I'm very honored to have a guest with me that's been doing great work in sustainability, triple bottom line, and just amazing work. Nick Aster, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for driving all the way up in the rain and all the way down in the rain. So could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I guess the short answer is I've been living in San Francisco since '96. I've had a long background in online media. Did a lot of web design and got into web publishing. Got into blogging relatively early, and have always had a strong interest in this thing that we're calling sustainability now. So I always wanted to find a way to combine my interests of online media and sustainability, and that's a really short way of describing my history and what has led to Triple Pundit.
So you were a transplant to San Francisco?
Yeah.
From?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Ah, okay. And did you go to school out there, or?
I didn't actually. I went to school in St. Louis, Missouri at Washington University, and got it into my head that there might be something interesting to be done online after school, and came out to San Francisco and started doing that.
Well, I've never been out there, so I'm sure it's a much different environment to work in and be in.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about Triple Pundit.
Sure. So Triple Pundit, we describe Triple Pundit as a media platform for the conversation on sustainable business, which is a bit of a mouthful. What it really means is we're essentially a news website, and we write about sustainability in a business context. And that includes everything from large companies, what big companies are doing vis-a-vis sustainability, all the way down to small entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, even things that are happening in the developing world. Anybody that's using the power of business to address some kind of social or environmental issue.
Awesome. And so the goals then of Triple Pundit?
Sure. Well, the goal is really to...
Or mission statement?
Yeah. The mission and the goal is to advance the conversation about sustainability in business.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah. Which is obviously what I think a goal of any media often is. You know, media is really it's a place for conversation. It's a catalyst for conversation. It's something that we hope provokes sort of a snowball effect to talk about these issues, because if we're going to get to any kind of solution, it all starts with a conversation. So that's what we see ourselves doing.
And are you the founder, or was there people that helped you with it? How did this come about?
Sure. I'll give you the condensed version.
No, you don't have to give us a condensed version. There's lots of time.
Okay. Well, the relatively condensed version is that, yeah, I'm the founder. I started Triple Pundit while I was a student at the Presidio graduate school, which is an MBA program in San Francisco focused on sustainability.
So was it your project there?
Yeah, it was. Basically, it started as something that I did just for personal reasons. It was actually a personal blog when I first kicked it off.
What year was that?
That was 2005.
2005, okay.
So it's been about 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, about 7 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm amazed actually. But there you go.
That's great.
So yeah, I started out as a personal blog because I was disappointed in how little media coverage there was out there about sustainability in general, but specifically about sustainability in business. We still had, and we still have to a certain extent today, although it's gotten a lot better, we still had a problem with business thinking that environmental issues or social issues were automatically a cost. They were automatically something that was bad for business, that would cost jobs, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, you had environmental folks talking about how business was evil and the enemy, and these ridiculous dichotomies that really don't have any basis in reality. And that bothered me a lot. And I wanted to talk about how business could do right by the environment and right by society and still be profitable.
Still have a really good return on their investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for that matter, to talk about how business can actually be a tool for good and potentially be something that could advance environmental progress and social progress for that matter. And so, given the dearth of media options, I started blogging about this stuff. And one thing led to another. Eventually, this became what is called my capstone project at Presidio, which is kind of like a thesis that you do at an MBA program. And it sort of rolled on from there.
That's great. So how many blogs do you think you've written?
How many articles, how many posts?
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. Oh, it's in the thousands, but I'm not sure. I should look it up. Yeah.
You don't have them all printed out in a book somewhere?
No.
Tear sheets?
I'd be embarrassed if I did. If you look at some of those old ones, they're probably pretty bad.
I'm sure they're probably better than you think. Let's pull the first slide up right now, which I probably should have pulled up a little bit ago. So here, this is actually off your website. So People, Planet, Profit, and we can pull that back down. So that's kind of what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that says it all.
Pretty much. It's a start anyway. It's meant to provoke a conversation. I really like this idea of the triple bottom line for a couple of reasons. Basically, what I described before about sort of breaking some of these misconceptions that people have about either or. And I also am particularly fond of the fact that it's three. It's a triple. This gets a little bit philosophical, but I think that sometimes we're very hardwired to think in terms of dualities, and we're always thinking black or white, left or right, Republican or Democrat, X or Y, and that drives us into
sometimes it can't be. Sometimes it's in the middle. There's a little gray sometimes.
Yeah. Not only is it always, to a certain extent, gray or in the middle, but sometimes there's even a third path, which can really take some of the best of either of those things. And so when you think about things in terms of a triple bottom line, and when you ask yourself, well, is this business decision that may have a clear financial return? Well, let's think about what's its social impact, and let's also think about what's its environmental impact. It forces you out of that duality, and you may or may not come to a brilliant conclusion, but at least it's a healthy exercise to force you to consider that it's not an either or, to always be thinking about what's that middle path or perhaps more productive path that we could take that can address all three of these things.
I'm going to have them pull the next two slides up. Let's pull the first one up. And this is from your, this is the Presidio. This is where you went.
Yeah.
This is the next one. I guess I forgot to pull that up. And this is one of the, Hunter Levins is one of the professors there. And then here's from your website. So Triple Pundit is an innovative new media company for business community that cultivates awareness and understanding of the triple bottom line. And it goes on here to the next, let's go to the next slide. And it talks about community. And so this is kind of the basis of your website, and we could pull that down. And again, going back to the triple bottom line, I guess we could pull that up right now too. The triple bottom line is really a new way of looking at business. And actually, here we go. Triple Pundit. This is you guys. Yeah. So this is another slide that was supposed to come up later. This is talking about sustainability reporting.
Yep.
So let's just jump into that.
Sure.
Tell us about sustainability reporting. And there's a lot of companies that are doing this now, and we can pull that back down. And it used to be called environmental reporting. Some talk about corporate social responsibility. So different companies have different branches. Some are environmental teams, green teams, and it seems like more of them are having all of it. Oracle, HP has a sustainability director or VP now. So they're all a little bit more interested in it, and they're understanding that it's a return on their investment that makes sense, not just dollar-wise, but doing the right thing. So talk about that. Tell us.
Yeah, that's a huge topic. Really, like you made a whole bunch of interesting points there. So yeah, a sustainability report, which to me is somewhat synonymous with a CSR report, corporate social responsibility report. And sometimes they call it something else. It's been around for a while. I couldn't tell you when the first report of that nature came out, but it's, at least in this country, it's a voluntary report that a company will put out to talk about its progress.
And not all companies do that.
Correct. It's voluntary. But it's a report that companies will put out typically to talk about what they're doing vis-a-vis sustainability or doing good and so on. And these things can run the gamut from something that's really fluffy and, just sort of patting themselves on the back to some stuff that's really, really, that really gets down to some
that has some
interesting
scientific
details.
guts to it.
Yeah,
background.
absolutely.